the first thing you notice isn't the smell of diesel or the claustrophobic heat of the steel box you're currently inhabiting. It's the vibration, a relentless, bone-rattling shudder that travels up through the floorboards of the Panzer III, through the soles of your jackboots, and settles deep in your molars. You are clamped inside the metal belly of a beast, tearing through the Ardennes forest, and your jaw is clenched so tight you worry your teeth might actually shatter. But you don't care. In fact, you feel fantastic. You feel electric. You feel like you could punch a hole through the armor plating with your bare fist and sprint all the way to Paris before breakfast. This is May 1940. You are a driver for the Wehrmacht, the vaunted German war machine that the propaganda reels back in Berlin promised was fueled by superior genetics, iron will, and lots of wholesome exercise. But the reality of your current situation is a little less Wagnerian opera and a little more Breaking Bad. You haven't slept in 72 hours. Not a wink, not a nod. And the reason isn't just patriotic fervor or the fear of a court-martial. It's the little white tablet dissolving on your tongue, leaving a chalky, bitter residue that tastes like battery acid and victory. You reach into your breast pocket and pull out the source of your superpowers. A small, unassuming tube with a bright orange cap. This is the callback seed, the object that defines your entire existence right now. It looks like a container for vitamins or perhaps breath mints, but the label reads Pervitin. Inside are the miracle pills that the medical officers have been handing out like Halloween candy since you crossed the border. Stimulant, they called it. Alertness aid, the label suggests. In modern chemistry terms, you'd call it crystal methamphetamine. But right now, you just call it tank chocolate or Panzerschokolade, a cheeky nickname for a substance that has turned your entire division into wide-eyed, jittery insomniacs capable of impossible feats of endurance. You pop another one, despite the fact that your heart is already beating a rhythm that sounds like a snare drum falling down a flight of stairs. The instructions from the high command were vague enough to be interpreted as, take as needed to win the war. Historians will later debate furiously about just how systematic this drug policy was. Did the highest generals explicitly order a meth-fueled rampage, or did they just conveniently look the other way while millions of pills flooded the front lines? You don't have time for academic nuance. You just know that the order came down to bypass the enemy's sleep schedule entirely. While the French and British troops are resting, sipping tea, and behaving like biological organisms that require downtime, you and your comrades are chemically engineered terminators. The forest outside the vision slit is a blur of green and brown. You are moving faster than any army in history is supposed to move. The speed of the Blitzkrieg isn't just about better engines or radio coordination. It's about the fact that the drivers physically cannot stop. If you stop, the crash comes. The shadows in the corners of your vision start to move on their own. You see things that aren't there. Phantom infantrymen in the trees, dragons in the exhaust smoke. It's the sleep deprivation creeping in at the edges, the shadow people coming to collect their due. But as long as the Pervitin is flowing, the shadow people stay in the peripheral. You glance at your radio operator. He's sweating profusely, his eyes wide and unblinking, looking like he's just seen a ghost or drank 42 espressos back to back. He's aggressively tapping out Morse code with a manic energy that suggests he thinks the telegraph key owes him money. You share a look. No words are exchanged, just a mutual, chemically induced understanding. We are infinite. We are awake. We are probably going to have a terrible headache next week. It's a strange juxtaposition, isn't it? The Nazi ideology is obsessed with bodily purity, health, and rejection of degenerate vices. Yet here you are, participating in the largest state-sponsored drug binge in human history. Back in Berlin, the Temmlerwerke factory is churning these pills out by the millions. 35 million doses shipped to the Army and Air Force for this specific campaign alone. That's a fringe fact that always boggles the mind. The sheer industrial scale of the operation. It wasn't a back alley deal. It was a bureaucratic triumph. They even marketed a version of this stuff to housewives as a diet pill and mood lifter. Imagine your grandmother scrubbing the floors with the intensity of a tactical nuke because she wanted to lose a few pounds before the holidays. That's the world you're living in. The tank lurches over a fallen log, and your head slams against the periscope pad. You don't feel pain, just a dull thud that registers as interesting rather than hurtful. Your focus snaps back to the road. The sensory experience is overwhelming but oddly distant. The roar of the engine, the smell of cordite and unwashed bodies, the metallic taste of the pill, all blends into a single high-frequency hum. You feel like you're vibrating on a different frequency than the rest of the universe. There's a mainstream historical narrative that attributes the fall of France solely to brilliant tactics, the sickle-cut maneuver. And sure, Guderian and Manstein were clever. But from your point of view, slumped in this driver's seat with pupils the size of dinner plates, the tactic only works because you haven't stopped driving for 3 days. You've outrun the enemy's ability to react because you've outrun your own biology. You are bypassing the fundamental human need for rest. It's a cheat code. You're playing a strategy game with infinite stamina toggled on, while the other side is still playing by the rules of circadian rhythms. But there's a creeping darkness under the high. You can feel it in the way your hands tremble when the tank idles for even a second. You feel it in the paranoia that whispers that maybe the trees are actually enemy soldiers in disguise, or that your commander is looking at you with suspicion. The drug gives, but it takes. It borrows energy from tomorrow to spend today, and the interest rate is predatory. You wonder for just a moment, what happens when the war stops? What happens when the orange tube runs empty? For now, though, you suppress that thought. You grip the levers. The Panzer III surges forward, crushing saplings and churning mud. You are the tip of the spear, the lightning in the war, the chemical component of the Blitz. You reach into your pocket, your fingers brushing the smooth, cool plastic of the tube. Just one more. Just to make sure you get to the river before the sun goes down. The engine roars, matching the screaming pace of your own heart. Wind down. The engine's roar fades into the distance, replaced by a gentle, steady silence. The vibration that rattled your bones settles into stillness. You can let go of the steering levers now. Unclench your jaw. The frantic energy of the march dissolves, leaving you safe, heavy, and pleasantly tired. Take a deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. The smell of diesel and sweat is gone, replaced with the scent of fresh linen and cool air. You are not in a tank, you are in a sanctuary of rest. The history is fascinating, but it is over. The frantic urgency of 1940 cannot reach you here. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress, supported and held. There is no need to be alert. There is no need to keep moving. The best thing you can do now is the one thing those soldiers couldn't: surrender to the softness of sleep. Let the darkness be comforting, not full of shadows. Let the quiet wash over you like a tide. You are safe, you are calm, you are ready to rest. End of script. Sweet dreams.
must be seeing things.
We see you, driver.